And so that from João Pedro deemed not enough. It would finish 2-0 for Chelsea in this game, taking all 3 points away from it. Here is what Marco Silva had to say after the game. As you could see, he was frustrated, very much so during it. He said, "How do you disallow a goal like that? It's unbelievable. We have meetings with the referees, and one of the main things is that VAR is not here to re-referee the game. I don't want to say more. I want to be on the bench the next game." Here's some of the reaction from some of our pundits on ESPN FC. Nader Manua saying, "For me, I think that goal should always have stood. I think Chalobah's got away with murder, and I think the fact he stayed on the floor sold it to them to go and have a look." Mike Dean says it's such a poor call. VAR just needs to stay out of it. It's just a complete accident. Robbie Musto, game's gone. Don Hutchison, inserting himself in an emoji, says never a foul in a million years. Okay. Frank Leboeuf is here in human form to give his take on what he saw today on that moment. Frank, what's your take?
In our time, definitely is never a foul, that's for sure. But nowadays, and it's what I texted to Shaka this afternoon because we had some arguments about that, is the fact that every time a player steps on another player, it's a free kick. I've seen that 100 times since last season and the season before. And every time I wonder why, when you step on the player, it's necessarily a foul. But it is what it is. So why today it would be different? Of course, Chalobah can't get the ball. Of course, Muniz doesn't do it on purpose and just put his foot. He just put his foot accidentally to Chalobah's foot. But it's what it is nowadays. So they always whistle for that. So why do you want to do otherwise today? Because it's in the middle of the park? Because it's, I don't know, different? Or because Chelsea will pay referees to have hours like that?
Well, the only part of that point that Frank made I agree with is that back in our day that wasn't a foul. But that's where it comes to a screeching halt for me. Listen, I think again Muniz is in possession of the ball. There's nothing unnatural about his movement in landing on the ankle of Chalobah, who's coming in late, is trying to check his run, so Chalobah does not commit a foul himself, but Muniz is in possession of the ball, and in a natural movement catches Chalobah. I think that goes. And in much the same way that he goes, wins the ball, and in a natural action in coming down, falls on Chalobah, who is lying on the floor for some odd reason. This is a hypothetical, of course. That's not a foul. That's a part of the game. And I see this similarly. He's in possession of the ball, does a bit of skill, and it's a natural movement with the ball at his feet. And so from there, even though he catches Chalobah, yes, for me, it is not a foul. It is a natural part of the game.
Ale?
Well, the first thing I would say is that somebody, please, and this is a public service announcement. Actually, it's more, I'm pleading. Somebody remove Frank from our WhatsApp group, please. Please. This man was sending messages every minute of that match about everything. Endlessly. Having said that, I don't like it. I don't like the call, right? And I don't like that it's called a foul. But this is where the game is now. And it's no different because it is an attacking player. It's no different than an attacking player splitting two defenders, beating a defender, and actually you are accelerating away from the defender in a natural movement, which is, this is how you run. This is how you run. This is how you run. And when you do this, somehow you make minimal contact to the trailing defender that you just beat. You're leaving them behind. But because there is some contact, the defender somehow goes down because you touch him in the chest or the neck area. He goes down, and they call that a foul. I don't like that either. But this is where we are in the game today. And if there had been, to Frank's point, if there had been somebody stepping on the foot of Chalobah in the attacking half, inside the 18-yard box, or if he were stepping on somebody's foot in his defensive half, in his 18-yard box, they call it a foul, and they call it a penalty. And I know, I'm with you, Shaq. I'm with you. I'm not making the argument for this.
Thank you.
I'm not making the argument for this. I don't feel comfortable having this conversation because I don't think that it should be a foul. But this is where we are in the game today.
I get your example, but to that point, let's use the penalty boxes as another example, with another hypothetical. Let's say a defender, there's a loose ball, and a defender goes, clears that loose ball, and then lands on the ankle of a striker. That for me cannot and should not be a penalty. In that situation, even today, as lax as some of these laws may be applied or how they're enforced, that I don't think that's given as a penalty. If you get there first, clear the ball, and in the act of clearing the ball, land on someone who's on the floor. I think the key here is Chalobah it's on the floor. It's not studs to the thigh. It's not, to Ali's example, even a loose arm in the face here, which I'm with you. I disagree. I don't like that either if this is a natural act of running. But this is on the floor. And that for me, if that is what we're calling, then let's just go ahead and say this is a non-contact sport and no contact is allowed, and we move on. At least then there'll be some consistency.
But I think what we can all agree on is if the call was originally not given on the field as a foul, that should not be enough to overturn. I think if the referee did not deem that to be a foul, I don't think there is enough there for him to then go over and overturn the call. However, we are playing by a different set of rules, and more importantly, a different standard. It's a different standard as to what's a foul and what's not. And in today's standard, more times than not, that's going to be given a foul whether we like it or not. I don't like it, but it's going to be given as a foul.
The other thing that kind of angered me in all of this is the explanation for it. It was deemed, what, careless?
Yes.
What does that mean? What on earth does that mean?
You're the closest person who can answer this to us. Yeah.
No, they kicked me out a long time ago.
You're responsible to see where your foot lands, Shaka.
What is careless?
You're being careless.
Listen, I couldn't disagree more. Studs are down. It's not like studs are up. It's
It's all rough. Okay, so those are the decisions. How about the performance overall of Chelsea? What did you make of it, Frank?
That was a poor one. I mean, I wasn't lucky today because I had to watch Tottenham, and then after I had to watch Newcastle. And if I have to congratulate Fulham, Bournemouth, and Leeds for what they achieved because they gave 100%. The three others, their opponents, were kind of horrendous. And it's starting from Chelsea, especially the first half. I mean, I didn't recognize the team who won the Club World Cup, who started the season. Even if the first day, the first half, I think it was against Crystal Palace, if I'm not mistaken, was poor. That was something that I didn't see, and I saw some hope about everything. Today, that wasn't good. That wasn't good at all. So, of course, we are talking even more about, the controversy about the goals, because it could have been a draw. It could have been a loss, even if the referee wouldn't have decided otherwise. But yeah, that wasn't good. I wasn't happy. It's sad to see Delap being injured, and maybe we're going to talk about Nicolas Jackson and his flights going back, maybe. But really. I wasn't happy with the performance of the Blues.
We will talk about that in a minute. But what did you make of the penalty decision in this game, Frank?
Well, that's insane for me. He doesn't need to go back and check what happened really before, because that wasn't the wondering. I don't get it. There was a push, there was a handball. Therefore, why do you want to give a penalty? And after, somebody said that it was João Pedro handball wasn't a deliberate handball. Was Cezinho handball a deliberate handball? Is showing his back? He's doing like that, and people are saying that that's deliberate. Yeah, he does it.
They're saying he's making his arms bigger. But, Frank, they're saying he's making his arms bigger.
But João Pedro too. He put his arm like that. His arm should be there. He put his arm like that. So it's the same story. So I don't get it. I mean, I'm happy the Blues won, but I don't want to win like that. And it's going to happen to Chelsea one day where they're going to complain about the same thing. So referees, VAR, the board, they have to wake up because it's obvious. We see it. We see the push. We see the handball before. So why do you give a penalty? You want controversy. It's good for us. We have a debate and we make a nice show.
I don't know if he is happy that Chelsea won.
I'm curious as to who are these people that Frank is talking to. Random people in the street. Look, if the discussion is only about whether it's a handball on Sessegnon or not, then there is no question that is a handball. It's clear as clear it can be, and he is making himself bigger, and there is no argument there. But I also think that there is no argument in assessing the fact that there is a push by Joao Pedro that impedes the defender from challenging the ball, which is what he's trying to do. That should be a foul, and that's when I'm with Frank. All the other people that he's talked to, I don't know. I have no idea. All I would suggest is that is there a push from Joao Pedro? I think the answer clearly for me is yes.
Yes, okay. So as Frank did mention, there's been drama elsewhere when it comes to Chelsea today because of Nico Jackson. His proposed loan move from Chelsea to Bayern cancelled at the last minute. Now, he'd already flown to Munich, was on his way to his medical, and was then informed that Chelsea were pulling out. The reason, because you obviously saw Liam Delap coming off early in that game injured. He had to be subbed off against Fulham. So he's expected to return. He's not happy about it, but he had been there in Munich to get that deal done. And so our boys were in the Augsburg-Bayern Munich game today, Archie Rintot and Thomas Hitzelsberger, and they got a chance to ask Vincent Kompany about this, and this is what he had to say.
I know you will have been focused on the game, but you might have heard about what's happened with this Nicolas Jackson deal for Bayern. How frustrating is that for you?
No, total plausible deniability. I have made every effort possible not to inform myself so that I can be here and plead the fifth. So I'll go on the bus, and when I'm on the bus I'll have plenty of time to get the updates. Unfortunately, I won't be able to speak to you guys anymore.
Oh.
Okay, so he's not saying too much.
Can a guy from Belgium plead the fifth?
What's the fifth in Belgium?
He knew our audience. He's actually entertaining and accommodating all of us. Max Erbels actually said, the Bayern director, he said it's all on hold at the moment. But as you mentioned and alluded to earlier, Frank, this is a weird and wild situation.
Now, that's for me, I'm sorry, but I want to be clear. That's disrespectful towards Nicolas Jackson. I mean, the guy is not an object. He's a human being. You say you don't want him anymore. You can go play and even on loan for another club because you're not good enough for Chelsea, and suddenly you have an injury. Oh, you know what? No, just come back. Oh, yeah, but I'm already in Munich. No, we don't care. Just come back. Come on. Just pay some respect to the player. You picked him. You chose him. He wasn't good enough. That's obvious, and we all agree with that. He has to go, but respect that decision that you made, because you made that decision to get rid of him and to allow him to play for another club. And don't call him back after because suddenly we miss you. We didn't think about that, but we miss you because we have an injury. Now, that's not fair. That's not fair. That's, for me, absolutely disrespectful.
That injury is expected to be 6 to 8 weeks for Liam Delap. And then, hang on a minute, have you landed yet? Yeah. Turn around.
Call the customs agent.
Turn around.
Don't let him in.
What do you think of it all, Shaq?
Well, my first takeaway is I want Nicolas Jackson's agent. How we end up in a situation where 48 hours to go in the transfer window, Chelsea and Bayern Munich are fighting over Nicolas Jackson. I want his agent. Secondly, and the cold side to this is business. Chelsea are still his owning club. They still have the right to call him back, and they exercise that right. But to Frank's point and to how Frank phrased it, we are talking about humans here. And while, yes, in the cold act of business, Chelsea are well within their rights, as Frank articulated, you tell Nicolas Jackson you don't want him anymore, you're not in our plans, you can go elsewhere. Somehow he gets himself to Bayern Munich. Again, that's a different conversation altogether. And just as you're thinking you're getting this new lease on life, you are called back to a parent club who just got through telling you we don't want you anymore. So now you have a player who's upset, who really isn't, has no kind of sympathy, has felt no kind of love from the football club, doesn't feel appreciated. And what does that translate to in terms of performances? Now, Nicolas Jackson is a professional, and I'm sure he'll put out professional performances when called on, but you could totally understand how deflated he feels at this point. And while I started in defending Chelsea, was saying, it's just the cold business that it is, at no point you thought, between now and, let's say this deal was done, you thought that you had more than enough cover to last you until January. Had this injury happened a week later, your position was, we had enough cover to last us until January. One player goes down, and that totally changes. So while I defend Chelsea and this is business, this is not smart business on your part. However you look at this is not smart business on Chelsea's part. And now as a result, you're going to find yourself with a player who probably does not want to be there. And we see exactly how much game time this all translates to for him anyway.
And then wonders, Shaka, at the end of that timeout from Delap, okay, so then what's going to happen to me now when he comes back?
Well, he knows what's going to happen to him. He's not playing. There's a reason as to why the door was completely wide open. Nico, go on. Go on. Yeah, just, you know what? Go. We'll pack for you. Just go to Munich. We'll send you your boxes. We'll be all right. And so to that end, obviously, if you're Chelsea, you're thinking, well, he's still our player. But he's not. On paper, he is. But he's not. That Nicolas Jackson's soul has already left Chelsea. His commitment to your club has already gone, was already on that flight. And to the point of the agent, I think the situation is going to get all the more complicated because of the agent's involvement. If this were a personal conversation between player, manager, at a human level, I think there is a better chance of this being resolved than an agent who came out and said, the plane ain't coming back. The plane is not turning around.
The plane can't go backwards, I think it was.
Whatever it was. And so it already creates, it's an uncomfortable situation and conversation to be had regardless. But I think the agent is already sort of adding fuel to the fire and making this far more controversial than it needs to be. This is when humans have to have a human conversation. You didn't want me. You don't want me. You don't need me. You said you didn't need me. Now you want me back just because? It's to the point to where if you're not going to use me and you know you're not going to use me, just let me be and go do my thing over there and see what happens with the rest of my career. But if it is about the contract and what's on paper, what's cold written paper, then Chelsea have every right to say, 9, you're coming back this way.